Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. So I'm Muhammad Bilal and I'm teaching you the sociolinguistics. So today I'm going to talk about one of the most important component or the topic of sociolinguistics, which is the anthropological linguistics. Okay, let's start with the main term anthropology. So anthropology is the scientific study of humans, human behavior, and societies in the past and present. So simply, it's a study of human, how they were living in the past, how they are living in the present, how they were using different kind of tools in the past, how they are using different kind of uh, tools in the present. So this is all about the humans, including their dresses, including their houses, including their occupations, including their behaviors and the values as well. So anthropology basically is divided into three subfields, including social anthropology, cultural anthropology, and linguistics anthropology. So social anthropology studies pattern of behavior. So when we are going to study the patterns of behavior, we are mainly concerned with the social anthropology. So cultural anthropology studies cultural meaning including norms and value. So when we are going to study the norms and the values of the human, so basically we are concerned or we are connected with the cultural anthropology. And finally, the last subfield of anthropology is linguistic anthropology. So it studies how languages influence on social life. So as you know, okay, we all are living in a society and we all speak languages. So when we are living in society and we speak the languages, so it means that there is a strong relation between the societies and the languages. So when we are going to study the languages, when we are going to study the impact of languages on the social life or the human life, so we are concerned with the linguistic anthropology. Now, I'm going to talk about the second component of my lecture, which is about anthropological linguistics. So, anthropological linguistics is the subfield of linguistics and anthropology which deals with the place of language in its wider social and cultural context and its role in making and maintaining cultural practices and societal structures. So anthropology is basically is a relationship between language and the anthropology, or when we are going to study the anthropology with connection to the language. Linguistic anthropology is the study of how language is used in everyday life and how it is integrated into various cultures around the world. So, linguistic anthropology is concerned with the study of cultures with connection to language uh, across the globe. The term anthropology is derived from two Greek words. Anthropos means man, as in human beings. Logos mean study. So it is the scientific study of the origins of human, how we have changed over the years and how we relate to each other both within people from other culture. So when we talk about linguistic anthropology or when we talk about the anthropology, so we relate, we compare various culture which are existed around the world in connection with the language. So based on the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, they proposed that people of different cultures think and behave differently because the languages they speak require them to do so. So there is a strong relationship, there is a strong connection between anthropology and the language, because due to the change of culture, they change their language. So due to the change of even language, so they change their culture. One of the most recent example in my mind, in remote areas in Pakistan, the people usually speak the Punjabi at their home. So when they migrated in the cities, they change their language. They shift from Punjabi to Urdu, or sometimes they shift from Punjabi to English even. So as they change their language, the culture is also changed. They become more modernized, or they become more globalized even. So in other words, the way individuals view the world around them is affected by the language they use to interpret their world. So in these pictures, you can get a clear overview about uh, the anthropology, how the man was living in the past, but gradually with the passage of time, with the modernization, with the globalization, or with the invention of technology, he has become more educated, sophisticated, and more challenging, and a more uh, uh, technologist. So now I'm going to talk about four subdivisions of anthropology. So anthropology is divided into four divisions, including physical anthropology, archaeology, cultural anthropology, and linguistic anthropology. First of all, I'm going to talk about physical anthropology. So it is the branch of anthropology concerned with the origin, evolution, and diversity of people. So physical anthropology is also known as biological anthropology, or physical or the biological anthropologist work broadly on three major sets of problem, including human and non-human, primate, um, evolution, human variation and its significance, and the biological basis of human behavior. So when we talk about the behaviors, when we talk about the human and non-human uh, primates, or when we talk about evolution, so we are concerned with the physical anthropology, because we discuss or we study the diversity of people. So in order to explain the diversity within and between human population, physical anthropologists must study past populations of fossil hominins as well as non-human primates. So it's a responsibility of the anthropologist when they are going to talk about the diversity, so they would have to investigate the past as well. So now I'm going to talk about archaeology. So this is a study of ancient and recent human past throughout material remains. So it has been derived from the broad field of archaeology, which is concerned with the study of the extinct cultures. Man, the central figure of anthropology, existed before, long before the development of written record. So archaeology is mainly concerned with the study of ancient time, the culture of the humans, or the traditions, or even the values of the human in the past. So archaeologists deploy the analytic techniques of many scientific disciplines, including botany, chemistry, computer science, ecology, genetics, biology, and statistics, among others, to recover and interpret the material remains of past human activities. So it means that it also a multidisciplinary field which connects with various other disciplines including computer science, ecology, botany, genetics, and statistics even, in order to recover or in order to interpret the materials remains of human past activities. So this is a picture that depicts about the archaeology, how the people were living in the past. Now I'm going to talk about one of the important subfield of anthropology, that is the cultural anthropology. So it is the study of such topics as how people make their living, how people interact with each other, what beliefs people hold, and what institutions organize people in the society. So cultural anthropology, it is the branch of basically anthropology concerned with the study of human societies and cultures and their development. So it is the branch of anthropology focused on the study of cultural variation among humans. So when it comes to cultural anthropology, it is mainly concerned the cultural variation, how with the passage of time the culture has been changed and what kind of variation is there from one culture to another culture. So this is or such all these matters or the issues are discussed in cultural anthropology. Now the last subfield of uh, forensic linguistics is the linguistic anthropology. So it is the study of how languages or language affects social life, or it is uh, also studied communication in the context of human social and cultural diversity, past and present. So when it comes to linguistics anthropology, they are concerned with the originated from the endeavor to document the endangered languages. As we talk about anthropology is mainly concerned with the study of past and the present. So when it comes to linguistic anthropology, it means that a linguistic anthropologist, they would have to investigate the extinct languages which was spoken in the past, and they would have to recover the endangered languages which are present in the modern era. So linguistic anthropologists study the ways in which people negotiate, contest, and reproduce cultural forms and social relations through language. So they also examine the way in which language provides insight into the nature and evolution of culture and human society. So this is a pure responsibility of linguistic anthropologists to study the extinct languages or to study the endangered languages, and they are equally responsible to document all these issues related to language and the culture. So, the linguistic anthropology further divided into four fields, including historical linguistics, descriptive linguistics, sociolinguistics, and ethnolinguistics. In this picture or the diagram, so anthropological linguistics has been described in one picture. So as it is concerned with descriptive linguistics, so descriptive linguistics describing dialects from form of a language used by a specific speech community. So when we are going to investigate, when we are going to study the various characteristics or variation within the dialects or within the language of specific speech community. So we are concerned with the descriptive linguistics. Actually, we describe what kind of variations are there with uh, uh, with connection to the past. And historical linguistics is describing changes in dialect and languages over the time. So it means that in historical linguistics we study the languages over the time, how the languages have been changed due to the change of time, how they were in the past and now how they are in the present. So when we going to study from time to time, so such kind of study is called historical studies or historical linguistics. Ethnolinguistics, it is analyzing the relationship between culture, thought, and language. So when we are going to analyze the relationship between the culture, thought, and the language, so we study the ethnolinguistics. And finally, the sociolinguistics, this or it describes the relationship between language and society, because we all live in societies and we all speak languages, so that's why there is a relationship, strong relationship between language and the society. So when we discuss various aspects including social, political, and economical, so we study basically sociolinguistics. Now I'm going to talk about the job or the responsibility of anthropologist. So anthropologist is a person engaged in the practice of anthropology. The person who studies anthropology, he or she is known as anthropologist. An anthropologist study humans past and present who they exist in the society. An anthropologist studies norms and values of the society. An anthropologist studies how language affects social life. And he also studies the behaviors of humans. So these are the major assignments or the role or the responsibility to be an anthropologist. Now I'm going to talk about the role of linguistic anthropologist. So if you are a anthropologist and you are going to study language with respect to the culture and with respect to the value, so what kind of role you have to play as an expert, be a linguistic anthropologist. So anthropologists study language in everyday use and how it relates to power structure at local, regional, and international levels. It means that if you are an anthropologist, it means that you have to connect with the language which is used in everyday life, and it also relates to the power structure at local, regional, and international languages. So when we talk about the language study, we do not consider just one language, we consider all the languages which are used in all over the world, including indigenous languages or local languages, regional languages, and the international languages. So at three level or at this level, the anthropologist study language which is used in everyday life. They look at the role of information technology in communication, including the internet, social media such as Facebook and cell phones. So they are equally responsible to examine the language with connection to the IT or the information technology. As all of you know, it's the age of technology. So when we talk about the technology with connection to the language, so this particular area is discussed under computational linguistics, but anthropological or anthropologists, they basically examine the language with connection to the information technology or with connection to the computer science. So how we can evolve different languages with the help of technology. So anthropologists in the linguistic field study modern communication methods. Yes, so as you know, IT is directly linked with the language. Whatever the programming they are going to encoding, or whatever the programming they are going to use, they need a language. On the one hand, they are working with the computer language, but on the other hand, they are also connected with the human languages as well. So being an anthropologist or be a part of anthropological linguistics, so you must study the modern communication methods. So as I have already discussed, Facebook is there, WhatsApp is there, Instagram is there, Twitter is there. So all these various means of communication or the modern communication in which the language is examined. They also work with people to trying to preserve their language for being extinct. Yes, it's also the role or the responsibility of anthropologists. They are going to preserve, they are going to save the endangered languages or the minor languages, and they are directly connected with the extinct languages, those languages uh, which are about to uh, die, or those who have already been extincted. So they are going to study the old languages or the past languages, those languages which are no more in this world. So with the help of their archaeology, with the help of their written script, they try to examine how old this language is, and how many people were using this language, and what kind of human were there who were using these languages in the past. So the linguistic anthropologists, they play a very important role to secure, to save, or to preserve the endangered languages or minor languages, including our regional and the local languages as well. Now I'm going to talk about the relationship between linguistics and anthropology. So, as all of you know, the linguistics is the scientific study of languages, uh, including we study grammar, phonetics, and phonology. We also study uh, syntax, semantics, and the pragmatics. So these are basically the core areas of linguistics. So when we are going to study the linguistics, we deal with all five levels, including phonetics and phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and then we study pragmatics as well. So anthropology is the study of human past, present, their culture, and how humans have changed through times. So when it comes to anthropology, we basically study the humans. We try to know their past, and we also examine or study how they are living in the present. We also discuss about their culture, their values, and how their different cultures have been changed with the passage of time. So language and cultures are intertwined in that they cannot be separated from each other. So language and culture both are associated or directly linked with each other. We cannot study language without culture, or we cannot even study the culture without ignoring the language. So both are connected with each other. So a language can only speak by humans in this world. No one can speak like humans and communicate with each other. Anthropological linguistics studies origin of language, how language evolves with time, how it varies from area to area, and how it transmission across the culture. So there are a number of areas in which the anthropological linguists they are working. They try to know their origin. They are directly concerned with how languages evolve with the passage of time, and how one language is different from another language according to the area, according to the region. And they also study the transmission across the culture, how various cultures are transmitted in all over the world, and how they are different from one another. So here is a diagram or the picture that depicts how the anthropologist works with various projects. Dedicate the first one is it they dedicate several years of working on an individual projects. So as you know, anthropology it is the study of humans with respect to past and present. So when we are going to study past, it means that we have to collect the evidences, so it takes longer time as compared to the other projects. So the anthropologists might have to be hiking and climbing, often carrying equipment. Yes, they require expertise and skills with the help of technology. So most of the anthropologists, after collecting the data, they work in a lab, and they also use latest software or the equipment in order to find something interesting and unique from the past, and then they would have to compare all these things with the present as well. So they have analytical and investigative skills. Yes. So anthropologists, they are also detectives because they have to investigate, or they have to develop their analytical skills. So without getting expertise, they won't be able to collect the data, and they won't be able to analyze them with equal proficiency. Pre Preparing and publishing research. So in the form of research, they are doing a wonderful job. So they have prepared a lot of work, and they have presented in the form of research. So whenever there is something happening in this world related to the past or the present, the anthropologists they always examine all these areas with keen interest. So now I'm going to conclude or to summarize my discussion. So linguistic anthropology is examines language through the lenses of anthropological concerns. The concerns include the transmission and production of culture, the relationship between cultural system and different forms of social organization, and the role of the material conditions of existence in a person's understanding of the world. So, the relationship between the environment and the culture and the language of the people is self-reinforced. So overall, when we talk about the linguistics anthropology, so they concerned with the cultural systems, they concerned with the overall norms and the values of the people, and they are mainly concerned with the language which is used by a particular speech community. So thank you very much, students. So this is all about the today's lecture. So now I'm going to conclude or to summarize my discussion. So linguistic anthropology is examines language through the lenses of anthropological concerns. The concerns include the transmission and production of culture, the relationship between cultural system and different forms of social organization, and the role of the material conditions of existence in a person's understanding of the world. So, the relationship between the environment and the culture and the language of the people is self-reinforced. So overall, when we talk about the linguistics anthropology, so they concerned with the cultural systems, they concerned with the overall norms and the values of the people, and they are mainly concerned with the language which is used by a particular speech community. So thank you very much, students. So this is all about the today's lecture.